How is it possible for a ship considered unsinkable to disappear without a trace in a matter of seconds? For 50 years, the sinking of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald has been the biggest enigma of the Great Lakes, a mystery that unjustly blamed its crew. But today, new images captured by underwater drones reveal a chilling truth that has left scientists cold. Get ready to see what was hidden in the abyss. Before diving in, be sure to subscribe, give it a like, and share this video to discover the real story. There are places in the world where geography and legend are intertwined in such a way that it is impossible to distinguish where reality ends and myth begins. Lake Superior, that vast expanse of fresh water that separates the United States from Canada, is one of those places. Sailors who have navigated its frigid waters know its temperament well. They know that. Beneath the calm surface of a summer day, a force capable of devouring steel and lives without a trace sleeps. But of all the stories the waves whisper against the docks of the Great Lakes, none resonates with as much force and melancholy as that of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. Nearly 50 years ago, this colossal feat of engineering, known as the pride of the American coast, disappeared from the face of the earth, or rather, from the face of the water on a night of meteorological fury. There was no final distress call, there were no survivors, and for decades there were no clear answers. However, the mystery that has fueled songs, books, and endless debates is about to take a Copernican turn. A new expedition, armed with 21st century technology, has descended into the icy abyss where the giant rests. What its cameras have captured is not just twisted metal wreckage. They are images of such disturbing and revealing clarity that, according to the latest reports, have left scientists cold, rewriting the story of the last moments of 29 brave men. To understand the magnitude of the tragedy, we must first understand the magnitude of the victim. When the SS Edmund Fitzgerald was launched in 1958, it was not simply just another ship. It was the undisputed king of freshwater. With an impressive length of between 210 and 222 meters, it held the title of the largest cargo ship ever built for the Great Lakes up to that time. Its 13,000 tons empty were a testament to American industrial power. It is not surprising that it earned revered nicknames like Mighty Fitz or the Queen of the Lakes. For 17 years, this steel leviathan was a nautical celebrity. It transported mountains of iron ore from the mines of Minnesota to the steel mills of Detroit, breaking speed and cargo records with routine reliability. Its captain, Ernest McSorley, was a veteran of the seas, a hardened man who knew the whims of the lake better than anyone. The crew, made up of 29 souls, felt a deep pride in their ship. For them, the Fitzgerald was more than just a workplace. It was a faithful companion, an entity with its own personality that had withstood countless storms. It was, in everyone's mind, an unsinkable titan. The calendar marked November 9, 1975, when the Fitzgerald loaded its holds with more than 26,000 tons of taconite, iron ore pellets, in Superior, Wisconsin. The destination was a steel mill near Detroit. The weather forecast was discouraging, announcing a storm on the plains, but for Great Lakes veterans, bad weather in November is as inevitable as the cold. Sailors call these violent and sudden tempests the Witch of November. McSorley, prudent and experienced, coordinated his voyage with another nearby freighter, the Arthur M. Anderson. They agreed to sail together, keeping watch over each other across the gray immensity of the lake. No one on board could have imagined that they were setting sail for a death trap. On November 10, the Witch awoke with a fury few had witnessed. Winds howled at speeds exceeding 130 kilometers per hour, and waves rose like liquid walls 10 meters high, the equivalent of a 3-story building. Freezing snow and mist reduced visibility to zero, making radar the navigator's only eyes. During the afternoon, the situation aboard the Fitzgerald began to deteriorate. At 3:30 p.m., Captain McSorley's voice crackled over the Anderson's radio. His tone was calm, professional, but the message was alarming. "We have a strong list." He reported that the ship was listing, that they had lost some ventilation grates, and that a railing had been torn off. Most concerning was that its radars had failed, leaving the giant blind in the midst of the chaos. He asked the Anderson to guide them. The last communication was recorded at 19:10 hour. The Anderson asked about the Fitzgerald's condition. McSorley's response was stoic and, in retrospect, heartbreaking. "We are holding our own." Minutes later, the green dot representing the Fitzgerald on the Anderson's radar flickered and disappeared. There was no chaos on the radio, no screams of panic, no distress signal, simply silence. The lake had swallowed the Titan and its 29 men in an instant. When the wreckage was located days later, 160 meters deep, the bewilderment was total. The ship was broken in two. The bow section lay upright in the mud, while the stern was inverted about 50 meters away. The official Coast Guard report issued later was devastating to the crew's family. It concluded that the most likely cause of the sinking was crew negligence in failing to effectively close the cargo hatch cover. According to this theory, gigantic waves swept the deck, flooding the holds and sinking the ship. This conclusion was vehemently rejected by the maritime community. How could experienced sailors make such a basic mistake? For 50 years, the debate remained alive, oscillating between theories of giant waves, sandbanks, and structural failures. The Fitzgerald became a ghost story, an unsolved mystery, until now. What the drone discovered next left experts speechless. But before showing you that key image, I need to ask you a quick favor. If you are passionate about discovering the truth hidden behind these historic shipwrecks, support us with a like and subscribe to the channel right now. Your support is what allows us to continue investigating. Do you already have it? Perfect. Now get ready, because this evidence changes everything we thought we knew. Nearly half a century later, a new expedition has returned to the Fitzgerald's final resting place, but this time with an overwhelming technological advantage. Using a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, an underwater drone equipped with powerful sensor lights capable of penetrating the eternal darkness, and crucially, 4K ultra-high-definition cameras, the team set out to perform a forensic autopsy of the wreck. What they found upon descending through the 160 meters of icy water was a scene frozen in time. The ship's bow emerged from the darkness, its name still visible beneath a layer of silt, like a shroud. But the drone's objective was not nostalgia, but evidence. They headed for the controversial cargo hatches. The images they transmitted to the surface were, in the words of the video documentary, irrefutable and unsettling. Upon examining hold number 1, the drone focused on the steel clamps that were supposed to seal the cover. They were missing. They were not broken or loose. They simply were not there. The steel where they should have been anchored was hollow. As the drone advanced, the pattern repeated itself, hatch after hatch. The clamps were gone or bent backward at grotesque angles, as if a giant can opener had ripped them off. This was not crew negligence. This was pure violence. The hatches, the ship's main defense against the storm, had been systematically breached and ripped off by the brute force of the storm, not left open by human error. But the finding that truly left the researchers cold was yet to come. About 150 meters deep, near the forward section, the high-definition cameras captured the detail that changes the entire narrative. The drone focused on a circular opening in the deck. A ventilation duct should have been there, a robust tube designed to allow air to escape from the holds when loading the ore. What remained was a hole about 10 centimeters in diameter, an open wound that led directly to the ship's cavernous heart. The expedition's engineers immediately understood the severity of this image. In a constantly deck-sweeping storm, that 10-centimeter hole was not a minor leak. It was a lethal injection. Simulations suggest that thousands of liters of water per minute could have entered through there. This is where science paints a picture of silent terror. The Fitzgerald's cargo was taconite, small pellets of iron ore. This material acted like a gigantic sponge. As water entered through the ripped tube and damaged hatches, the ore absorbed the liquid. There was no freely sloshing water to immediately alert the crew. The ship's weight simply increased invisibly and lethally. This revelation explains Captain McSorley's stoicism. When he said, "We are holding our own," he probably believed he was only dealing with a list and superficial damage. He did not know that his ship's bow was becoming an anchor weighing thousands of tons. With the bow becoming increasingly heavy, the Fitzgerald lost its buoyancy. At the critical moment, the bow sank, acting like an immense shovel, and the ship's momentum drove it head first into the bottom or against a massive wave, splitting its backbone in seconds. The drone images have served to exonerate the crew, clearing the names of 29 men who fought to the end. It was not human error. It was a catastrophic structural failure exacerbated by an unmatched force of nature. However, the violence of the sinking has given rise to even bolder theories that scientists do not entirely rule out. There is talk of the Three Sisters, a phenomenon of sequential giant waves that would have hit the ship at its most vulnerable moment, the first two flooding the deck and the third delivering the final blow. Other theories verge on science fiction but are based on physical principle. Mention is made of the possibility of a harmonic resonance, where the storm's frequency coincided with the natural vibration frequency of the ship's hull, causing it to vibrate like a guitar string until the structure collapsed. And there is even speculation about magnetic anomalies in Lake Superior that could have interfered with the instruments, leaving the ship blind and at the mercy of invisible forces. Ultimately, the images captured by the drone, those that have left experts in reverent silence, tell us a story of inevitable fatality. They show us a ripped tube and missing clamps, silent witnesses to an unequal battle between man and nature. The mystery of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald has ceased to be a matter of blame to become a lesson in humility. Modern technology has allowed us to look into the eyes of the tragedy and understand, minute by minute, the horror of that November night. The ship did not surrender. It was murdered by a combination of design, physics, and elemental fury. Today, the Fitzgerald rests in silence and darkness, protected by laws that prohibit further dives to respect the tomb of the 29 sailors. But thanks to these new images, its story has emerged one last time, not to ask for help, but to tell the truth, that they fought against the impossible, and that the Witch of November never forgives. The drone images are definitive. It was not human error, but a brutal force and a fatal flaw that condemned the Fitzgerald. We now know that those 29 men fought against the impossible until the very last second. Do you think there are more shipwrecks waiting to tell their true story from the bottom of the sea? Leave us your theory in the comments. If this mystery has captivated you, do not forget to give it a like, share the video with other curious people, and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next expedition into the unknown.